A day a couple of weeks ago of absolute pure chaos brought then the SimGear GT Masters into a really big crisis point. Who is going to stand up on top? Who is going to say that they are on the next level? But when it comes to the SimGear GT Masters, they know that no matter how crazy it gets, the racing keeps on rolling. And it's so to the panhandle of America that we head to next, to one of the great classics out there of racing action. It is Sebring, and it is round 3 of the 11th season of the SimGear GT Masters. My name is Jake Sperry, bringing you through all of the coverage here today of this championship, where Gabriel Ivanov was the one who was able to stand up on song and say, I could win the race as the pro, leading home a Pro-Am just 14 days ago. Now, the story changes again. So, how will they all stack up and say, I need the best points, I need the best places, I need to be on top of my game? That is what will be conducted over the course of racing action here today. An hour and 10 minutes with qualifying lasting a full half an hour, with different sorts of category out there running for their elements. We'll start in GT4, as we always tend to do. And so in GT4, it is Martin Yankov who holds the GT4 championship lead out there on 128 points. That then is met with Dylan Stebler, who is 11 points back then of Martin Yankov here today. You then have, in terms of the categories right now, Huno Horshi, who was able to win last time out to pull the gap back to 18 points. Kevin Aby in 4th, and Daniel Struchka then was able to jump up into the top 5 at 24 points adrift. It was then Radlen Ivanov and Alex Stefanov 6th and 7th. Alex Stefanov tied with Norbert Hey, who was able to get over the line, and then Maxim Ivanov and Kamto Chikure, then the Irish driver, moving up into the top 10 then with those efforts. Drivers like Florentin Hattemer not taking part last time out, so you'll be thinking that there are drivers who look at this circuit and go, yeah, this is going to be my circuit where I can go and make something happen. Through the, I would say, foggy day, or very overcast, cloudy conditions that we have here at Sebring for this one in the middle of December, we'll be seeing now the first time starting to line themselves up as our focus shifts over to Alex Stefanov. They're in the Porsche Clubman GT4, working a way in that Cayman over towards turn number 1. This very bumpy left-hand bend as you move from concrete over to asphalt. Off of the exit, you flick through turn 2, and it's very easy to overshoot at turn 3, because the differences on the circuit are the braking properties that you have through that section. Out through 4, and now the big bend of turn 5, leading to the Gurney bend at turn number 6, which is underneath the entrances between the paddocks, and over to turn number 7, the hotel hairpin. We go back to the VGTR 112 of Huno Horshi there, and that Aston Martin, which is looking to try and be lightning fast again, got the pole over in Suzuka, and second opportunity it would have to be to convert to a victory last time we were with you at Watkins Glen. So there is that. Martin Yankov then with a purple third sector to align himself as one of the quickest drivers. 101 as the reigning GT4 champion out there, and out of Collier Corner and over to the tower, where you have this 90-degree right, very late apex into the corner, easy to run wide off of the exit and pick up an off-track penalty point. But now along the Flying Fortress straight, Yankov has to be aggressive through the Bishop's Bend, and now you head through the Le Mans chicane here. That will be coming along, and of course Ullman the corner before that. So through Le Mans, and now as America's Le Mans circuit, you now hit the Ulman Straight and this long old run over towards Sunset Bend, the corner of 1,004 lines, and every time you look for a line around this place, it's never truly quite what you need through it. Wide entrance then going through, attack the bumps through the middle of the corner. It gets very bumpy under the bridge, and they've taken away the grass strip on the outside of that corner, and Yankov then will be one of the first to the line to set a representative time. A 209.7 was 0.8 of a second quicker than Alex Stefanov. Dylan Stebler, who is directly behind in the GT4 standings, then is going to be back by just a couple hundredths, but Daniel Struchka was quickest for a moment, and Kamto Chikure has pace to burn here today, so that will certainly work in the AMG Mercedes GT4 to say, right, this is where we're going to be. Hunor Horshi can only manage 5th at the moment at half a second adrift out there, and a couple drivers out there making their first starts to the season. Daniel Kramski is one of them, representing Germany, and then you got Kenny Campos, who has been running, I think, a little bit further back over the course of this season and trying to go and make some work sorted in a Rothmans Porsche out there today, as Yankov fastest in the first 2 sectors. Getting the tyres up to temperature shouldn't take too long, should take a little longer than normal, I would say, in these colder conditions. So if the colder conditions are going to be causing that nightmare, you're going to need every one of these 10 minutes to get a lap time that feels like it is on tenterhooks. Then Yankov now fastest again through sector 5 out there on our runs, and now again through this run over Le Mans and Jean de Bien corner, which leads onto the Ulman Straight, and again getting a wonderful tow out there in front from the likes of Alex Stefanov, who is proving to be very useful out there in this open style of qualifying. It helps to have a teammate around you and searching for that time, and so now you have the sense that Martin Yankov is going to be the one to beat. But again, that 3rd and 4th sector are slowly losing those times compared to those improving behind, and over the line, Yankov then up to the top on a tie of a 209.433. The hundredths and the thousandths make the difference then against Kamto Chikure, and so there is the difference maker out there. It's beaten though by Daniel Strzezucka in the Ford Mustang GT4. Here comes Hunor Horshi then to the line with maybe 2 attempts left. That's better from a 209.5 perspective, but still, that is only good enough for 4th from a driver who has been the de facto go-to over the course of these races, has been the fastest driver in qualifying both times in GT4. You got Norbert Hey back there on 210. You're looking around Krastin Stanchev out there. You also got Maxim Ivanov and Radlen Ivanov, who have both been putting times in on the board. Chikure has stayed where he is at the moment, so Kamto will be looking around thinking this is going to be the critical lap, because sometimes you do overheat the tyres out there to get it all sorted. Alex Stefanov, purple in the 3rd sector, and is again yellow in the 4th, down in 9th position because all in Malinov now. Jumps up Hey as well as Kramski then on 210s are proving they've got what they need. So the difference is going to be about a second if you have tow compared to if you don't. And Alex Stefanov is proving that this is tough because he does not have tow, and especially in the GT4 category, I'm expecting drivers to have a massive scrap around for it. There is Dylan Stebler, who in the 110 is looking to try and make some progress against Martin Yankov, but 2nd versus 5th is going to make all of the difference. They will have one more lap to go to, because you are allowed to finish any lap that you start out there, and that might be the everything that's needed. Martin Yankov then trying to work on through, and he is yellow through pretty much every sector. Stebler green through almost every sector, which means a personal best through there. Struchka going even quicker, and for Dylan Stebler, that will not be an improvement. It will be an improvement, 209.559, but could not jump. Hunor Horshi. Struchka on a 209.1 now goes fastest, and by almost a quarter of a second. VGTR are in a really strong position here in GT4 today, and now they go 1-2 because Hunor Horshi finds the lap time of a 209.2 to get it to exactly where it needs to be. There's drivers everywhere who are finding improvements. Maxim Ivanov is one of them who is jumping up, who is good through 5 sectors, crossing the line on a 211.4, but still half a second shy of Radlen Ivanov for position. Alex Stefanov green through the first 2 sectors. He's on a 209.9, and we focus right now on the 112 of Hunor Horshi underneath the bridge and over towards the hotel hairpin, where it is Dylan Stebler with a purple 3rd sector out there on this 7-sectored lap, as it is put to us here with SDK Gaming. That's unlocked and beaten then by one of the drivers, Ivanov in the pits. Checkered flag out then in GT4, as the likes of everyone hopes to improve. Martin Yankov, one who can't right now in the BMW M2, so that's going to be certainly hoping to be a change right now, but it's certainly not working at the moment the way that the championship leader and reigning champion of GT4 is going with. Alex Stefanov looking like he's going to have a great chance to improve, and critically, Dylan Stebler is taking tow, heading along the Ullman Straight, hoping to leapfrog here with Martin Yankov. He realizes too late as he hits the brakes. A little wiggle there from Hunor Horshi as the last times start to come through. Alex Stefanov will be the first one over the line, and his time will not count. It will go to Dylan Stebler then to try and improve, and does, but not enough for a position. No chance for Kramsky to improve. Neither Strzuchka, as Hunor Horshi has 2 green sectors. Kamto Chikure has 3 and crosses the line and sets a 209.363. Enough to go. 3rd fastest out there in the pits went Hunor Horshi, unable to do much more, and so that will be that for that attempt out there. You've got now the AMs and Pro-Ams on circuit right now, but they will have to respect the 114 of Norbert Hey, who is on his last lap. He'll be the last car, really, or one of the last cars to try and make something happen here, and you are really getting a sense of, I've got to try and do everything. And in fact, if he was clever about it, picking up a tiny toe from those drivers, as there's the 104 then of Krastin Stanchev pulling over to one side, and this going to be the final attempts through. We know that the car there is not going to continue on for Alex Stefanov, that he is out of time, and he'll be pulling that back to the pit. So it really will just remain on those final drivers that work through. Norbert Hey then jumping down into pit. So GT4 in the books, and Daniel Strzuchka is going to be the driver on that pole ahead of Hunor Horshi and Kamto Chikure. Then in 3rd position, it's then Yankov, Stebler, Kramsky, and Hey, your top 7, with Alex Stefanov, Orlin Malinov, and Radlen Ivanov making your top 10. A lot to uncork then in GT3 AM and your GT3 Pro-Am Rally 3 standings, as they are known. And it's Stadomir Borisov who is the leader of the GT3 AM category on 133 points, is 17 clear of Lyubomir Velkov, with Nicholas Nikos then on a tie on points between him and Stanislav Naidenov, in 4th position. You then got Plamen Dimitrov 5th on 93, who's 40 points back. Christos Sarkazov in there. And, of course, a non-start last time out for Jack Tolchard, who's the only Brit in the field. And so with 70 points in the back pocket, we'll definitely be looking to try and find victories to move back up in the GT3 AM standings. So too Lazar Katsarski, Alexander Nikolov Senior, Vilo Dimitrov, Valentin Stemenkov, and no starts really for Anamir Georgiev out there. Pro-Am, very much a different tale. Ture Mollarin is proving he's got pro's pace out there in this series. He's 35 points clear of Joris Ohms with 2 wins out of 2 in the Pro-Am Championship, with Roshdi Koshev then in 3rd and Maxim Dimitrov 4th. It's Ivo Serafimov who is up into 5th, with the likes of Ivan Marinov and Vladimir Mavrodiev as the first time start rolling in on the board. Maxim Dimitrov and Yordanin Tsvetanov then the top 2 fastest, as Stemenkov is the first of the AM standing drivers to get a time in. You got drivers, though, who have been quick, like Vladimir Mavrodiev gaining 5 places, Roy Viveka dropping 1, but there are drivers like Ivan Boromechkov who will be looking for times, and so too Arne Weiss, who had a lot of pace to burn over in Watkins Glen, as we've gone from upstate New York to as far downstate as you possibly can. Weiss 2nd quickest, Joris Ohms goes 4th, and so I look around at the likes of Stemenkov, and also you got a Vilo Dimitrov then, who is putting in a good time as it stands. Sarkazov going 12th quickest, and you will see the red then flashing through from various drivers. That red is the color of GT3 Pro. It's also the color of a time that has not quite gone the way of what some people have been wanting it. Paniot Karpachev, who is lightning quick lap to lap, can move himself up now into 2nd position, but my eyes are on that number 45 Swedish car as we focus there with the number 9 out there at the moment, who is the car in 9th position, the 35 as it currently is out on circuit. That is Ivan Boromechkov, who's trying to pilot the SIMGEAR car into play, with Yordanin Tsvetanov on a purple 6th sector out there, and purple 5th sector, and Yulian Janovsky with a purple 1st sector. It does actually strike the perfect time to talk the team standings here as the next times run in, because Paddock.gg, which is the team of Ture Mollarin and Łukasz Shipowa, then are the current leaders of the championship there by 50 points over Negative Delta by iLiveries. Negative Delta by Madness find themselves 3rd there on 151 points, who are 68 adrift of the 219 by Paddock.gg. Then it's Off Track Racing MV, SL Racing Mark Speed in 6th, Negative Delta KK Squad in 7th, Slank in 8th, R&R Yekov Rally School are 9th, and your top 10 then are rounded out by Negative Delta SRT. Janovsky 3rd, Vilo Dimitrov up to 6th. Then with that effort, as Mollarin goes 4th fastest only on a 1:59.7, maybe not having as much confidence as needed. There is the 82 car of Hristo Sarkazov and the 41 Mercedes of Julian Janovsky. Back to the 31 now. We will go. This is one of the Porsches out there looking to try and make good progress. Maxim Dimitrov, your leader currently in this qualifying on a 59.4. It proves that a couple weeks worth of practice can certainly jump you up the order. Arne Weiss, of course, just a few 700ths back as it stands for the moment. Yulian Janovsky, only a 6,000th gap between them. Lyudmila Velkov improving, so too Ivan Boromechkov looking to find some times. And Joris Ohms green through various sectors, as this is Nikolai Mikov, who is trying to jump from 9th position on up. Vilo Dimitrov having a great qualifying session then, ahead of Valentin Stemenkov by 5 spaces as it currently looks. So I would say this is job at the office territory for those nearer the front to say, look, listen, I am going to be your challenger. I am going to want to make it known. Svetanov with a purple 6th sector moves up to 4th fastest. Boromechkov goes 4th. Joris Ohms to the top, but Maxim Dimitrov is having none of that. He's going to be a couple tenths of a second over the top of it with a 59.1 down on the board. It knocks Mollerine back to 7th place. And so you are really sensing that if drivers have the qualifyings that they need, they'll get the races that they want. That's Boromechkov off on the right-hand side, pulling it over, saying, I can't do any more than what is necessary out there at this point. Like Paniot Karpachev then into 8th place. And this has now become a case of who might be out on circuit last. If you can get the tyres up to a window that certainly works, there will be no complaints in these late stages of qualifying out there. You've got drivers like Stanislav Naidenov, who's trying to do well. Jack Tolchard, for example, who didn't qualify at the opening round of the championship and was still able to win, was going to be a driver in place. Svetanov, a purple first sector. Roy Viveka jumping up then into 12th. You are seeing that timing sheet really litter about with quick drivers. Joris and Julian, for example. The Belgians of Mark Speed, Arne Weiss in there at the moment. And Svetanov running out of Jean de Bienne and the Le Mans chicane to now look a charge. Another purple 5th sector on the board. Maxim Dimitrov, a personal best and fastest 3rd sector out there on the lap. Svetanov can't find a good 6th sector. Janowski has a purple 6th sector, so it looks like the Mercedes GT3 is certainly going to be lightning fast in a straight line. A Jordanin needing half a second to dethrone and unthrone. Does with a 59 flat, goes a 10th of a second clear. Tolchard has spun it, and Janowski quicker because Joris Ohms goes second, and Maxim Dimitrov can only manage 4th on a 59 flat. The checkered is out for everybody at the moment, so that's going to mean disaster. Arne Weiss on a 59.5 only. Vladimir Mavrodiev couldn't find much on a 59.7 the last times. All starting to poke themselves through as there is the 39 of Paniot Karpachev trying to wrestle that Mustang round the corners and gain some time out there. Rosti Koshev is out of position right now, and I'd say Roy Viveka is too. Various cars have pulled it over to the side of the road, knowing their last time isn't going to improve, and it will for Julian Janowski, who is there at the top, and you will see Koshev up to 5th. That was who I saw jump up the order. Robin Skelton as well. What a qualifying from him into 6th. Karpachev, 59.4, is going to be just a 1,000th shy of Arne Weiss, as Roy Viveka for Mark Speed's going to be in there. Mollerine is going to be nowhere here today, as over the line goes Roy Viveka on a 2-minute flat, and will be a full second off the pace as one of the lowest running Pro-Ams out there, as he just finds himself behind the leading Am of Sarkazov. So it will be a big qualifying for Hristo Sarkazov, who will take the GT3 Am division pole with Ivilo Dimitrov and Lazar Katsarski back behind. Valentin Stemenkov, Alexander Nikolov Sr. You've also got Anamir Georgiev in there. You've got Naidenov, and then Velkov, Tolchard, and then Nicholas Nikosh then is going to be there. Julian Janowski in control of your Pro-Am division, ahead of Joris Ohms and Jordanin Svetanov, with Maxim Dimitrov and Rosti Koshev your top 5. So now we turn our attention over to the scenes in your overall and pro standings here, because they are very different. So for example, in the GT3 Pro standings, Gabriel Ivanov leads by 5 over Johan Neshev and Łukasz Sipowa, with Velin Vitanov in 3rd position, tied technically as well, 12 points adrift. Christian Novev back at 21. Then Leon Kiermaier, with only 1 start, is on 51 points, same as Chris Vazilov, with Vilo Boychev, Nicholas Stanev, and Ventsislav Raichanov down at the bottom, only with 6 points in GT3 Pro. We'll need to find every way to go and gain those points back on a season where he's been strong, but the points have certainly gone the wrong way. In general, it is Gabriel Ivanov cleared by 10 over Ture Mollerine, who is 2nd in the championship technically, but down in 10th already, and the pros still needing to qualify. So Łukasz Szypła, well, looks like it's going to be his mantle to take up in 19 points adrift of Gabriel Ivanov's 124. And so then you got Velin Vitanov, Joris Erms, Rosti Koshev, and Christian Novev. Then as those who are behind challenging, with Johan Neshev also tied with Novev on 84 points, 82 for Maxim Dimitrov, and Ivo Serafimov then on 77 points. So those first times are going to be so critical to see what the difference maker is going to be between the Pro-Ams and then the pros. So we focus on board with Johan Neshev, trying to absolutely run that Mustang with all it's worth in towards the next right. Gabriel Ivanov in the 11 with the fastest final sector. Goes 5th fastest then on a 59.1, indicating there is pace. Vrajilov 7/10 of a second off. Szypła 1.6 behind. Neshev only 5th. It takes a couple laps to get the tyres into the window. Velin Vitanov is going to be down in 15th place as Vilo Boychev, goes 14th. Then you look around at Venti Raishanov, who is in 8th place then, and you can't miss at the moment the runs that are there. Here is a very lightning fast driver, Leon Kiermaier, who is hoping that the German in the number 4 is going to put that Mark Speed machine to good use. Gabriel Ivanov is the fastest through the first 2 sectors, and sometimes it gives you wings having the championship lead. It's like having a chance to breathe. I look around in cycling, for example, in the old 2010, 2011 cycling tours, and what it did for Thomas Verkler, for example, how important, how critical it is to give yourself the championship lead, because it does buoy you with confidence sometimes. It does make you think, I'm better than so many other drivers out there, but the push is going to be needed here as we watch there that SIMGEAR Ferrari working through Collier Corner and over towards the next important corner of Tower there, with Venceslav Raichanov following a Vilo Boychev around. Velin Vitanov now sits in the midst here and wants to try and find this pass, find himself a way past, I should say, with Łukasz Szypła, because if he's not going to be quick enough on that next lap, he might want to flash the lights, and he's flashing the lights actually to say, come on, G up a little bit. You're going to cost me lap time with a purple 4th sector in Neshev's back pocket and a purple 6th sector to go along with it. This could be the money lap that is needed as Gabriel Ivanov puts a 58.5 down and says, I'm 4/10 quicker than what anyone else can do. Vrajilov improves then. Here comes Neshev to the line, and Johan Neshev goes quickest on a 58.2, 3/10 quicker than Gabriel, at least 2.5 quicker than Gabriel Ivanov. Boychev 3rd for only a brief moment. Venceslav Raichanov moving up then into 3rd fastest on a 58.5 with just 3.5 minutes of qualifying remaining. So, pace is going to be key, and Neshev taking the 2nd sector purple away from Gabriel Ivanov, who is absolutely trying to hunt down with everything he's got available the time that is there to be had. Working through is Gabriel here, through the very lightning fast middle sectors out there, and representing SIMGEAR Madness here today with the green, the red and the white of Bulgaria's flag. We'll be now looking to try and really run on through. Say any time gain is going to be critical out there for this to be. So with a 1/4 of a second to chase down, knowing that Neshev is trying to improve but hasn't through the 3rd, 4th and 5th sectors, Gabriel Ivanov knows he's got to be lights out if he wants to make this work. A green 5th sector slow down then for Velin Vitanov on this lap is going to keep him mired down in the pack. And so, will this be the lap that Gabriel Ivanov claws it back in? He's green in 5 at the 6 sectors, purple in 1, and purple crossed the line for a 58 flat to raise the benchmark again. Ivanov and Neshev are proving they are going to be title contenders for overall. There's the jump up through and says, I can get more out there. Raichanov then is third. It's Boychev who moves up ahead of Venti Raichanov then into that position. And Leon Kiermaier now hits the top 5 on a 58.7. Sipowa's gone 7th, about 0.8 of a second away, and just 1,000th short of Yulian Janovsky, who will obviously be wanting the points and as many points as possible in the Rally 3 Pro-Am standings. Big kick of tail there is going to cost time. Coming out at turn 5, just behind the Ferrari there. So that's Raichanov, whose last lap you can practically write off with that mistake if I'm not too careful about saying who's getting what. Sipowa is starting to gain more time here, and only 1,000th needed. Would love to find about 3/10 because that could be enough for a second row start at Sebring, where it is important to have the track position in every single stage. There is the black, blue, and red of Paddock GG colours right now, and car number 6 is going to be hoping that for at least the team's championship, this is a chance to hold station, to have ideals of what this car is going to do, where it is going to find all of that time, and working its way then through Jean de Bienne into Le Mans, and now coming out of the exit of this chicane. Is it too far over on the left-hand side for Sipowa, as now we get ourselves just 10 seconds away from timer expiring? Gabriel Ivanov, this is going to be close compared to 1 lap or more. 59, and he's going to be short of the line as he crosses it. Checker flag is out and will not, or I think may have just stolen in at the 11th hour, a final time to go and get it sorted. Can Johan Neshev now send a message? Sipowa goes 6th. It's at 0.215. Couldn't find enough. Velin Vitanov up to 4th as Raichanov hits pit lane off the road. Then goes the car there trying to struggle through, and Gabriel Ivanov is purple in that first sector. Chris Vrajilov then with a slowdown penalty, and so also trying to find that improvement, but it's definitely not quite. We will have to keep our focus on Gabriel Ivanov as the only car to go left, because Sipowa is out of time in that 7th position and will not be able to set any better lap time out there. Just trying to get a tiny bit more practice in before the end of the session ticks on over. We've got about 2 minutes for that. Gabriel Ivanov then is green in the 3rd sector and will be needing to try and jump through. He's heading his way just off camera here through at Tower and hoping that this time is going to count. He has got the pole position, but by how much is the question for car number 11. There are no doubts about that in mind, and only Chris Vrajilov down the order of the Pro-Ams, which is led by Yulian Janovsky and Joris Ohms, with Jordanin Svetanov in position number 3 for that. So what an incredible qualifying it has been. The question will be, has Gabriel Ivanov found a little bit more time and pace to move through the 58 and even potentially into the 57s on the 11th hour of qualifying? Ivanov is now running through the final corner as we focus on Sipowa, who's not there. Oh, and the back 6 out, going through Sunset, trying to push for any time you can get. It is a 58.4, so that is all lost in the final corner. And what a qualifying it is for the championship leader, Gabriel Ivanov. Needed it, wanted it, craved it, delivered it in the eyes then of many who have proven that they are brilliant, and trying to take that title away from the non-running this season Vladislav Shopov, meaning it's open season for the championship out there. So field is going to stack up then as follows for your racing action in just about 20 seconds in your SIMGEAR GT Masters. SIMGEAR, the absolute #1 stop shop for everything you could possibly want steering wheel wise, the likes of any gear, screens, you name it, you got it, and it's got it in so many different countries with the various shops available for it. Gabriel Ivanov then, 158.062, is going to be on this pole position with Johan Neshev alongside for company. It then follows with Ivaylo Boychev and Velin Vitanov, third and fourth there for Negative Delta. Venceslav Rajchanov will have Leon Kiermaier for company as part of the Mark Speed team in sixth, and Łukasz Shipua will be starting from seventh alongside Julian Janowski, the best out there from the Pro-Ams in the Negative Delta SRT car. It's then Joris Erms ninth with Jordanin Svetanov rounding out the top 10. Chris Radulov a little off the pace in 11th, and Maxim Dimitrov will be going from P12. Rosti Koshev will be starting in 13th with his teammate Robin Skelton then as his deputy in 14th. Then it's Arne Weiss in the 15th place and Paniot Karpachev in 16th. Ivan Boromechkov then is 17th position, and way down in 18th, a lot to do for Ture Mollerin, who only got the one lap down in qualifying. An 18th place start it will be, with Vladimir Mavrodiev and Ivo Serafimov making up your top 20. Your leader in GT3 AM is Hristo Sarkazov, will be going from 21st, with Roy Viveka, Ivaylo Dimitrov and Lazar Ketsarsky behind, making up rows 11 and 12, with Nikolai Mikov in 25th and Milan Milchev in 26th. It then follows with Valentin Stamenkov and Alexander Nikolov, with Anamir Georgiev and Stanimir Naidanov then making up the top 30. Lyubomir Velkov will be going from 31st, so will have work to do. So too will Jack Tolchard, who is not the notoriously best qualifier out there, but finds a way in the races. Nicholas Nikos is 33rd, and Stanimir Borisov 34th. It then leads to the Hungarian duo over at VGTR Esports, who are in control. The 113 this time leads to 112, so Daniel Struchka is the best in qualifying ahead of Hunor Horshi. You then look back further than that, it is Kamto Chikure, a great qualifying for Maffei in 37th, with the ST Sim Racing driver Martin Yankov in 38th, Dylan Stebler, the second of those cars, in 39th, and Daniel Kramsky making up your top 40. Norbert Hey then follows Alex Stefanov with Orlen Malinov and, of course, Radulan Ivanov in 44th. Maxim Ivanov leads then Krastin Stanchev, with Kenny Kamposh and Alexander Nikolov Jr. then the field all set out. The drivers who did not set times in their qualifyings were Stanimir Borisov and then Dimitar Palauzov and Dimitar Dimitrov. So they are the back of their respective categories out there. So the final three, no times set there in a full 50-car field, and that tells you all you need to know, that GT4 will be looking as follows. The pacing has already started here behind Gabriel Ivanov. Then it's the BMW M2 safety car that will be out there and piloting. It is the newest of the iRacing safety cars out there, and it looks absolutely beautiful with the lights on top of it in the red and the blue of iRacing. It is truly a master to behold, and conditions here that do not look very nice for anyone out there racing. Not much wind. It's very stagnant out there today and very overcast. So not much they can do here at the panhandle of Florida. The wind coming in from the northeast, which is a little peculiar for this time of year. Normally you catch a southerly wind around Florida at this time, as all of the various hurricanes in hurricane season just whip up around the coast and find their way through. But what will be said is that with a northeasterly wind here today, in the way that the circuit lines itself up, northeast is sometimes a nice wind to have. It's a cross tail as they go along the backstretch. It's a cross headwind across the front, and so there are chances to go and gain overtakes. For Gabriel Ivanov, a championship lead that he will look to expect increase on in the general standings, which is the biggest prize to have of everything. And then in category, he will be keeping his eyes peeled on the 5 of Johan Neshev, who will want to take the GT3 Pro honours out there, and we could even be in a situation where the GT3 Pro Champion might not even be your overall champion for racing. Now, how incredible of a story would that be by the end of the season, knowing as well that these drivers have their final chance in SIMGEAR GT Masters of 2025 this year here from Sebring. We do not return for racing, of course, after tonight until we run over to Mount Panorama on the 11th of January. So if you want 2025 to end with a bang, you're going to have to make it happen here. No more weaving beyond this point, as they now set themselves up for Sunset Bend. The pace car will pull off right off the end of this corner, and so it will be Aston Martin playing Mustang, playing Ferrari, playing Mercedes. It's 4 different manufacturers inside your top 4. There goes the pace car. Under the Michelin bridge they'll go. And round 3 starts now, the SIMGEAR GT Masters. And it's not the greatest start by Gabriel Ivanov. Johan Neshev absolutely took his lunch money off the start of this one. Velin Vitanov trying to work around the outside. It's 3-4 wide in the middle as it will narrow up through the middle of the corner. Everybody looks like they have just about skirted through the opening corner well. They now brake hard into turn 3, 4 and 5, and clearance has been found by everyone. GT4 now also looking to get themselves off and away. They've naturally left the run for them, as they will look to try and coordinate the start at VGTR. And there is already defensive action as Neshev has to fend the inside line. Almost contact there with the likes trying to work through back. But there goes GT4, and a great launch then off of the front then for Daniel Struchka over Hunor Horshi. Chikure having a little look to the inside. Martin Yankov being swarmed behind with Kramsky and as well Dylan Stebler off of this launch. Then behind that you got Hey and Alex Stefanov as they all try and pivot for a line, and Stefanov takes a tap, and straight down the inside of both of them goes all in Malinov, who will go and pick up runs off of the start of this race. But it is a frantic start to this one as everyone finds himself in line, knowing that they've got an hour and 10, and this is a pretty notorious drafting circuit down in the lower category of Formulas. They're side by side for overall lead. Gabriel Ivanov trying to go around the outside of Johan Neshev for position, and Jean de Bien, oh, muy bien, in terms of a pass there. And now more movement's going to be needed. Slow through the corner is Yulian Janovsky. He's going to start dropping back now as Radulov has made a good start, and now a little bit too close for comfort. Neshev moving across your front 4, absolutely all over each other like a rash into Sunset Bend. Noah's Ark Sim Racing 2 wide, 2 deep. A wiggle through the middle of the corner for Neshev's going to cost him second here. So Velin Vitanov is going to try and go through, and almost in the wall there, in the tyres. Off of the exit goes Johan Neshev, and so a lap is very, very aggressively put in the books, and the gaps now starting to naturally form themselves out there at this moment in time, as there is a slowdown for Tolchard, which has managed to be dealt with. Ivilo Dimitrov then up into 16th position, as there are big gainers on this first lap. +5 for Chris Vrajolov, might be the biggest one inside the top 10. 7 for Ivilo Dimitrov. Out there will be very happy with that work, and Struchka has had a good start. Someone who hasn't, Arnie Weiss is one of them. Robin Skelton has been caught up with something then on the opening lap of the race, and this is going to be from a long way back. Down the inside at the hotel, hairpin there, car 3. That is going to be Chris Radulov, who will get by on a Vilo Boychev. They'll work through the Fangio S's here and over towards Cunningham Corner. Here, the 90-degree right-hander. It's one of the great places to pass, underrated as a passing place, but still can't get the clearance then, trying to work around that Ferrari. Great then through the mid-speed corners, but it is Radulov who's got it back down the inside. Oh, brilliant. Vilo Boychev has come to scrap and fight, and the lights flash there from Chris Radulov, who felt that was way too risky this early on in the race. Janovsky, Kleermeyer, Erms follows up. Sipua now down the inside of Joris Erms is going to pick one up. Maxim Dimitrov is there, and a look behind. Look at the imposing figure of Yulian Janovsky trying to get there. Kiermaier and Sipua now also wanting that progress, but the front 4 clear. That's all they could ask for. There is Nikos for the moment, but now here comes Kiermaier to the inside, gets by Sipua, and behind that as well, Rosti Koshev eyeing up Maxim Dimitrov's position and moves up to third in Pro-Am with that move. Tudor Mollerin in 15th position with a lot of work to do, then is going to find himself with Ivan Boromechkov, for example, as Janovsky still scrapping it out with Kiermaier here. This for 7th and 8th overall. Slow run off the exit then comes along. Big block defense going through, and the position changes then. Kiermaier working the outside. The block by Vrajilov keeps it too wide. Big send down to the inside. That touring car background of Julian Janovsky. He's running the British sim racers and also the UK sim racers scene, really paying off in terms of how he sorts that out with Vrajilov there. You got Sipua now trying to focus on in, and behind that as well, there is progress. Gabriel Ivanov clear and almost contact there as they go through. Now watch out on the exit because Sipua gets himself a bit of door, but remember, he's got a very bulky car. They change as Velin Vitanov then trying to scrap with Neshev too. So everywhere you look, there is a battle somewhere. Vitanov now still in the middle, and then you got Raichinov in 4th place. Wide goes Ooms, and now this is going to open up the chance with Koshev then in play. Horsey leads now in GT4, so that changed on the opening lap as they are side by side still. You can't peer your eyes away on it, and look, there's nothing you can really look at there from the blimp up there at this stage, but everywhere you go, there is scrapping. Horsey, Struchka, Chikure, Yankov, Stebler, and Kramsky, your top 6 right now in GT4. But they are now working themselves then through Jean de Bienne, and still some side-by-side as they work on and say, can I do something? And there's a tag to the back of Maxim Dimitrov. 3 wide off the exit it will be, and that's going to open up some pushing because Yordanin Svetinov is going to get Ivan Boromechkov for help, and look at the run that's going to come along through by those behind. That's a Vilo Dimitrov who's had a wonderful run. They're going to be 3 wide here into Sunset Bend, almost 4. As they go through, it is 4 wide as Tudor Mollerin tries to put himself in, and there's the contact. You expected it with 4 wide there, and it's Joris Ooms who finds himself pointing around in the wrong direction, and he'll be dropping back knowing how tough the 49 is going to have to work to go and get back through. A big send down into turn number 1 then once again, and working the line off of the exit. Vilo's not giving this one up against Maxim. Who is best Dimitrov today? It's Maxim going through at turn number 3. Tudor Mollerin dropping miles down the order, and I think this might be in an attempt to go down in the pit. Oh, he's in the pit. Mollerin has had contact at 1. He has gone and had side-to-side contact with Hristo Sarkazov, and so in the wall and out is Tudor Mollerin. So this has blown the doors wide open in Pro-Am today. And we could see a new championship leader, of all things, believe it or not, with this performance, with Julian Janovsky leading, with Rosti Koshev in 2nd, and Boromechkov now currently 3rd in that category. We go up to Venceslav Raichinov, who needs, I would say, a nice hug over Christmas is the best way to describe it. He's had a torrid time of getting caught out at Suzuka. He got caught out again at Watkins Glen. Didn't have the best of drives. Now needs to basically reassess his season and go, how do I get back to Gabriel and Johan in terms of what they go? 2 teammates in 2 BMWs. Then as it is Sarkazov and Georgiev then who are in line together. Hristo, who has had the contact going through the opening corner with Tudor Mollerin. Anamir Georgiev hoping for good points on the back of that. Paniot Karpachev will go up further forward here because this is going to be with Boromechkov and Svetinov. Again, another case of 2 teammates out there making their progress and knowing they've got to launch. And now here comes another launch to make it happen. It's a 2-stop out there in terms of what they deal with on the car, because you have to remember that this is not just as simple as you can run. They've got a 50% fuel tank, so they can go maybe a half hour at best around here on an hour and 10. So it's a wide window for a 2-stop strategy. Janovsky then trying to get by Vrajilov and not quite managing that. But then there's Sipua, and then Kiermaier, and then Koshev. And Koshev, I think, is the key one out there to keep in mind, because if Rosti Koshev is going to want to take the honours here today in Pro-Am, he's going to have to get by a couple pros to go and make it happen. A truly lights out start as we go back to GT4, which has stayed in line pretty much off of the start of this one. It is now Struchka back to the front, and I wonder whether they are trading here at the front, the VGTR teammates, to try and get themselves as far forward as they can. Chakure happy to sit on the back in third with Stebler, Yankov and Kramsky, then your top six. And if it's the case that they're all staying in line, they could be playing the fuel game, trying to go as far as they can, try and maybe think about the pit stop, get an undercut somewhere in this race, and knowing that they can go and make it happen, this could be a really good day at the office to find as much of a launch as possible. We'll go back to Radlen Ivanov then for the moment, because Radlen is another driver who will be looking to hope for any sort of pass through that can be managed and maintained. And just behind that, a little on the curb there for Nikolov Jr., who has been trying to work through, representing Turkey today out there. And we'll be seeing Radlen and also Alex Stefanov. And Stefanov, I think, has really gone off the boil a little bit compared to earlier on. I don't know whether a couple of updates have made the changes that have gone maybe away from the driving style of Alex Stefanov, but it has been tough. Sipua now working through the difficult 3-4 into 5. Has got Paniot Karpachev down pit lane very early on, so I would say this is off cycle compared to anyone else. I wonder if something's happened to Paniot over the course of the run, but Sipua here, the pole, looking around, big blink behind by Leon Kiermaier. That will scare out there, but for the moment, Janowski doesn't quite get the drive off of the exit there in that AMG Mercedes compared to the Mustang behind, and the roaring turbocharged engine, supercharged even, you could say, to get it done. And trying to find only a Mustang-sized gap by the AMG Mercedes, and now here comes the work side by side as they go through. Looks like Serafimov and Velkov have had themselves issues out there on track, so they've had themselves a big off, but it's no change of position. Janowski has held Sipua behind and has done very well to say, my car is this. Serafimov with a slowdown penalty, then as Velkov is dropping like a stone down the order, and that's a big hit for Am there for him. So he'll be looking around at that going, I'm not really the best pleased driver to be dropping down. Now here comes the defense all the way over to the right-hand side. Sipua, I think, is trying to line up Sunset as a place to get it done. If you can't get it done at Sunset, you look at turn one. He's earlier on the brakes, trying to carry more mid-corner speed here through rather than the more aggressive braking style of Janowski. He was in the Acura last year. He's moved himself over now into this wonderful, or last season I should say, moved over into the wonderful AMG Mercedes, as the Acura has really struggled for any form of pace over the last couple of seasons, but they are getting drives here on Chris Vrajilov, who's again going to have to defend the line here at turn 3 as this group has formed, and now it is 2 and 2 at the front, and they are hitting lap traffic and side by side for the lead as well. Bye-bye, Yuli! GT3 Pro-Am leader goes around. Rosti Koshev will now lead. They scrap for overall at this moment, with Gabriel Ivanov just holding Johan Neshev off. It's a 1,000,000-point turn to try and rejoin to circuit safely, but it will manage. But through to Cunningham Corner now, we've got to go up to the leaders because they are side by side for that race lead. Neshev trying to pinch on the outside, and now they'll head to the tower. Collier is going to favour Neshev here as Gabriel Ivanov leaves the room. They've got traffic in front as well as we go to Sipua out there at this point, but we need to go to the leaders because Gabriel Ivanov has just fended off the pass, needing the slipstream from Dimitar Dimitrov, and now it's a panic of where do you go and find the place. They just get the clearance of the AMG Mercedes GT4. Back we go then to see the likes of Kiermaier and co, and there is your leaders. They're Neshev and Ivanov, who are 1.5 seconds clear of Venslav Raichunov and Velin Vitanov in the number 7. Vitanov, who now will need to work through. We'll take another look at this in slow motion. The back just stepping out, just too much brake on rotation for the trail brake, and there's not much you can do from that point onwards there. A car that goes unstable. And around you go. Out there on Ivo Serafimov, also down in the pits early. That will be no good in terms of today's running. So that will not be ideal in the circumstance, and you got a lot to try and get by. Now, here on the curb, there is damage on the front by the looks of it, as they have worked themselves into, 102, all in Malinov, taking the tap behind, and so that Mustang goes spinning around at Tower after being run over, essentially. And this earlier on, this was Joris Ohms, the 4Y, Mollerine taking the tap, and there's the hit. And then Mollerine had himself his issue down at turn 1, which has taken him out of the race entirely. So everywhere you look, it is tough racing. This was Norbert Haye, then 114. Back then, just not wanting to play ball, going through Jean de Bienne, and that Porsche is normally a lot more balanced than some of the other cars out there in category. So, shocked me and color me surprised. This is Malinov again here on the brakes. Another launch to the inside. Is he? Oh, he is run over, and that's 1, 2, 3. That's Skittles going down there with the 104, then running into the back. So that's a huge hit down there in the early stages by Krastin Stanchev. So that's put him down. There's Arnie Weiss's spin. That will certainly cause a lot of concern out there from those around who know that they've had to try and hold themselves there. Oh, I'm back across. Oh, Arnie, how has that avoided everyone there? That is very dangerous to come back across the circuit like that. But Johan Neshev in second, now back 1.8 as Venslav Raichanov is there. But they are about to catch the GT4 leaders, who have just about got 9/10 here on Camto Chikure. They've almost pulled away from the Irish driver here as Horsey and Struchka, the two Hungarians, looking to try and break. They've got by Stebler and Yankov, now has the likes of those, but it is just stretching out at 7/8 of a second, and Gabriel Ivanov has had a little bit better of the traffic, I would feel, through the opening stages of this race. And so more for Neshev and Raichanov to go and deal with. Arnie Weiss, back down there in 22nd, will be certainly looking to pick up points. So too Boromechkov and Maxim Dimitrov out there at the moment. They are certainly going to be hunting out there for points, as in comes Julian Janowski for a first pit stop of the day. And so keep in mind that it was the top two in GT3 Pro-Am who found troubles, and Koshev, there in 8th place, is still on the back of Łukasz Sipua. So that is certainly going to be huge. Koshev, third in the championship in Pro-Am, by the way. This is a huge day with Maxim Dimitrov there also in the mix. So they could be jumping up into championship leading conditions right now. Boromechkov having a good run. And there is Velin Vitanov side by side with Boychev, then, who has worked very well through the traffic to give that run, and now having to really fight by one of the BMWs, out there. I think that's Martin Yankov, that they were having a bit of trouble trying to get by there. And so now, is there going to be any squeeze as they work through on the Flying Fortress straight through to Bishop's Bend? And Dylan Stebler holding the line well. Little search there from Boychev down to the inside. Not getting much help there. And it's going to get very tight there with Hunor Horsey. And this is where naturally the gaps start to open up, because the GT4s are a little bit slower and you're going to have to hit the brakes a little bit more. And you're going to be hoping that as you run through the corners, you can just chase the car in front of you in. You don't have to worry about what's there behind. You certainly get the sense that the way that Ivaylo Boychev is running compared to Velin Vitanov, he can chuck that Ferrari into the corners, where it has to be a lot more measured on profile going through. Sipua still trying to find a way by Koshev here, 1/10 of a second only. The gap it is. Turn 1 approaching. Long labouring left-hander at 172 kilometres an hour, and now half defended in through turn 3. A little search to the inside, trying to get in the mirrors, but not quite finding the move that is necessary for the pass. So Sipua, I think, has been stymied a bit here in this race. Could definitely have stayed with Chris Vrajolov in terms of pace, but now finding out as well through the GT4 traffic just how tough this is going to be. Lyubimir Velkov put in this mix as well. And actually change of position as Kamto Chikure loses the place to Dylan Stebler. And we got great battling back there. A little off the road goes one of the Porsches. And so that is going to be a stay out of the way. So that is Ivan Boromechkov now trying to figure a way through to the outside then of Leon Kiermaier. And this is not for a big position out there in either championship, but now they sit 9th and 10th. Boromechkov second currently in Pro-Am, diving down the inside of the German and getting the move sorted there. Very, very nicely done. Skelton finally leaving pit and trying to make it work, and the gaps for the front two, they have checked out from everybody else at the moment. So they will be pleased that they built a 2-second margin right now, and it's very, very tough through the middle as you've got the likes of Koshev trying to get back at Sipua, for example, as well in front. So Horsey just had to see them go through, and there's the side-by-side. So here comes the chance then, round the outside for Koshev, contact on entry into Sunset Bend. They're going to have to get themselves single file, and Jordan Svetinov with a slowdown is going to drop a couple of places as well. So Jordan is absolutely flying down the order then the wrong way, because he was turned around, over at Le Mans Corner. So that's certainly not going to help Jordan's race. So there's another issue. 1 second the margin at the front. Neshev again has cleared Raichanov and is looking to work his way back to Gabriel Ivanov. But Koshev here, your leading Pro-Am, will directly have 2 seconds behind Ivan Boromechkov as we focus here with Kiermaier at the 20-minute mark. Car number 49, Joris Urms trying to gather as many points as possible. Little light flash then for Joris as that is Hristo Sarkazov that he's found the way through on. So Hristo trying to do what he can to say, I acknowledge you in terms of the battle that we have had. So that is going to be a critical moment of this one as they have all been figuring. And there is the 85 diving down the inside. And that one, a good pass for Lazar Katsarski, getting it done on Alex Stefanov, the GT4, trying to stay with Radlen Ivanov, and critically, Anamir Georgiev is the driver that is wanted to, with Jack Tolchard then just in front of them too. This is currently 5th, 6th and 7th going on in in GT3 AM as it stands, as there again, car 44. Vladimir Mavrodiev, off-track racing MV, looking for a little something out there, and that little something is the fact that Arnie Weiss in the Mach Speed Aston Martin there in the blue has started to find that gap and is trying to open up those positions. So there is that to figure out. Chikure really dropping back in GT4 here into the clutches of Martin Yankov, and Yankov has to leave the door wide open then for Joris Urms to go sending away through, and that completely takes that battle out of the hands then. And you're looking at the next run here, because there'll be another big launch here from Hristo Sarkazov, and maybe if you're unlucky, Lyubomir Velkov might be looking around at this, trying to gain laps back here in this one. Sipua then with the yellow flag next to his name, and so that means that he's going to have to slurve penalty as he ran wide at turn 3, and he'll try and craftily do it under braking here into the next corner. I don't think he's got it fully slowed up, so he's going to have to be a little choice about how he does this at the next section. If he waits too long, he'll get penalized for it. And here comes Koshev going to the outside. He's going to have to go all the way around the outside. Slow down, sir. Brilliant stuff by Koshev. Bravery of the man, resolute. And there is the moment that puts Koshev up into 7th in this race. Still, you've got Ivaylo Boychev trying to work his way past Velin Vitanov. They've fallen off of the leading 3 right now. Raichanov a little bit isolated in 3rd. Neshev a second back of Gabriel Ivanov, but we are in for a great race out there at the moment. And remember, GT4 is split by just 0.4 of a second too, with 4 different categories to keep an eye out on here, as there is Roy Vervaeke, Roy of the Rovers. Some will call him at the moment, as he tries to work his way up with Alexander Nikolov Sr. in the number 91, trying to make all of the difference here, trying to slam on the brakes there, gets a lot in front. Stebler now with a slowdown penalty. This is going to be really awkward now, because Stebler's right in front of this, and look at how they're going to have to try and fan around. There goes 1, 2, 3, 4 going by. They will go 2 by 2 around him. Stemenkov, Vervaeke, Velkov, and Nikolov. Then all together. Remember, Velkov's not part of this battle, allows them all to have it, works into Sunset Bend, and Stemenkov's going to be the big loser in this one. Way too deep, though, goes Nikolov Sr., and there goes the big worry that we were all expecting out there. Vervaeke gets the clearance. Martin Yankov is going to be one of the first in, and Kramsky is going to follow in tow. So the GT4s at 25 minutes, making their pit stop known early. And I like this from Martin Yankov. He'll be thinking tyres potentially here in this stop, and how do I gather them back? It's bumpy, it's abrasive. You respect the bumps around Sebring here. You know it for the 12-hour that goes on every February, and we're not a million miles away from that, just a couple months away from it. So pit stops are plenty, finding themselves in play, and GT3, I wouldn't think, are a million miles away from that. Absolutely looking good, but that is going to be Vervaeke down the inside of Daniel Struchka, and the GT4 lead battle then that's going on between the two teammates, Struchka and Horsey, right now, and they haven't been given a full license to break away until now, because they got 4 seconds of margin. Oh my goodness me, Mavrodiev there taking a tap, and there's going to be a spin behind, and that's going to be Nikolov and Weiss who get into each other there, and they've got to be careful about it. Struchka now is going to get a chance to build a slight gap. Leaders in. Ivanov and Neshev have hit pit lane, and so now look at this. Down the inside, you got to find a gap, you got to find room, and there just isn't any at Cunningham Corner. That's the tap into the side, and Weiss, I think, just got pinned in the middle, really. Not much you can do. And so Raichanov stays out, Vitanov out, and Boychev out. So in is Vrajilov and Koshev, and wow. We're in for an absolute treat here in this racing at Sebring. It is frantic, to say the very least, through the opening runs out there of this. They'll know that the pit stops will make the difference, and Gabriel Ivanov leaves first with a lot of wheel spin coming out of pit lane, trying to build the gap to Johan Neshev, and then those behind. So the SIMGEAR Madness car makes its clearance known, and Gabriel Ivanov then has himself the launch clear, and immediately trying to do something about it to lunge down Maxim Ivanov. He needs clearance, he needs gap. Neshev, seeing that, will be quite clear. It is a hive of activity down on pit exit right now, as leaving in line Vrajilov, Sipova, Koshev, Bodomechkov, Dimitrov, and then you look behind to Milan Milchev. Janovsky not a million miles off the back of a Vilo Dimitrov. They're going as Milan Milchev. Hristo Sarkazov now leaving pits, with Roy Vervaeke and Vladimir Mavrodiev now the next two. Anamir Georgiev, Alexander Nikolov the next lot, and then Katsarsky Tolchard and Struchka, who has made the stop now, is going to leave pits, with Hunor Horsey left in the dust over the GT4 cycle of stops. Stanimir Borisov's going to fight then Kamto Chikure off of pits. That should be a win then for Stanimir, as Stebler leaves pits. And so the pit stop cycle is in full display. In comes Ventsislav Raichanov now. 1 lap difference in terms of the stop. And there is the clearance then coming off through from one of the GT4s. That's the 105 leaving pit lane, Alexander Nikolov Jr. So, halfway in this race will be coming at 35 minutes, and everybody is jumping in with a sense of need. Vitanov and Boychev together have both hit pit lane, and they know what they need to do now at this moment. There is the number 32 of Roy Vervaeke, who is right in the middle of all of this, and I would say that as it stands. You'll be looking at that timing tower once the cycle all clears. We don't have it up at the moment, but we will do in a short moment here with you on SimGear. And it's going to be about, can you find the answers to all the questions required? Mavrodiev then with Robin Skelton as they will work through, and they got the likes of Joris Erms, for example, who is staying out as long as he possibly can. And at this moment in time, I would look at where they've come out on the exit here. Raichanov and Boychev have got the jump on Ivanov and Neshev. So that is a really telling pit stop cycle, and Ivaylo Boychev is the driver under threat at the moment from the hard-charging, lightning-fast championship leader, Gabriel Ivanov, at this stage. Svetanov and Weiss down in the pit, so Weiss will clear Svetanov, but now all change at the top. Ventsislav Raichanov is going to have to pay the piper back, but he's going to need time to do so. There's Koshev side by side with Kiermaier for position. This is going to be a big lunge. And then at the hotel hairpin, trying to go around the outside, but Koshev knows he needs room and he's got it. And the Mustang might try and follow through a Boromechkov to try and get that position. So can Ivan Boromechkov make it more out there to go and get this pass? Thinks better of it into Cunningham corner. It's a very brave corner to try and make it happen, but there's no real drive through the middle. A little bit of slipping there from Leon Kiermaier, and it is starting to fall back. And look at the way they have to try and navigate through some GT4 traffic there. That Mustang of Krastin Stanchev. Look at the clearance. Look at the drive. Oh, he had to back out, did Boromechkov there. The gap that he wanted to try and thread just closed on him as he went on through. And that is taking everything you need to know. Finally, Joris Erms is in for that first pit stop of the day at the half hour. And so Ivaylo Boychev and Gabriel Ivanov there, and all the way to the wall they go. There is Joris Erms for Mark Speed in the pits. Johan Neshev now in fourth place after the first round of stops is going to need to find a way to stay with Gabriel Ivanov, and maybe needs Ivaylo Boychev to get very elbows out in that Ferrari to say, I am not going to let you go through in any way, in any shape, or in any form out there. Ventsislav Raichanov, your leader. He has led in every single round this season, but only has 6 points in the Pro Championship to show for the effort that has been made. So, Ventsy, how's your luck today at Sebring? Ivaylo Boychev now going through. Slow down for Daniel Struchka, your leader in GT4, having to now give some time up to get Hunor Horshi back into play. And Horshi has Martin Yankov behind, who I think's done exactly the same ploy as before, gone for a no tyre call, and is going to be out of position. Or maybe it's just worked then by having those tyres up to temperature and chasing down as they go. Pass made for Gabriel Ivanov, through on Ivaylo Boychev, and quite comfortably as well, it has to be said. Ivaylo didn't put much of a fight there to try and make that happen. He wanted to, but now it's 4.5 seconds to chase down to Ventsislav Raichanov, who is your leader, and Johan Neshev now has joined the back of this train and wants in. There is Shippewa then for Paddock.gg, the leaders of the team's championship at the moment, and they are going to be really struggling for points after this round, knowing that out of this race is Ture Mollerine, who has been their star in Pro-Am this season. So Shippewa is now having to hold the line and try and make this work. Chris Vrajolov is the car he wants to get by at the moment, and we go further back still to a Yordanin Svetanov and Anamir Georgiev then. This is down in 22nd and 23rd, and so there's even this that is going on with Mavrodiev in front and Arne Weiss and Roy Viveka, so they all find themselves together. Lights flashing then on from Johan Neshev in the number 5, wanting a way through to go and gain the spot on Ivaylo Boychev. This is not as simple as you can find it. Shippewa now to the outside, thinking of a way to get by, isn't going to get that way by. Then on Chris Vrajilov at turn 1. Looking over towards turn 2 and 3 here, because that small kink does count as a corner here at Sebring. Don't ask me why. It's a tiny fade over to the right-hand side, and it's the only reason why. But now you are seeing here how important it's going to be. Sipua can't get the launch, and so Vrajilov has got the clearance by half a second, and that's why the Porsche's balance is so important compared to the Mustang's pure bulk as it works on through. You get a lot less roll in the car with how high up the Mustang is, and so it's a little bit easier through the corners. Move made again. Ivilo Boychev losing out another chance then. This time into Cunningham Corner. The pass has been found, so Johan Neshev up to third. He's only dropped 8/10 over to Gabriel Ivanov, so he's done a brilliant job. And now here is the recovering car of one Mr. Julian Janowski, who is P16 and was 12th at the start of the lap. So something's gone wrong here for Janowski, who has gone back and lost a couple places over the line. And I'm just having a look here. Oh, he's gone in the wall. He's gone in the wall out of turn 5. And that's why he's cost himself 4 places. He's had a big off at 5, and he's just caught the curb wrong, and he's gone spearing off into the wall on the left-hand side of circuit. So that's done that. Oh, there's a car off at the moment, so they've gone by him, and that's Maxim Ivanov. But now there's a change for the lead in GT4, because Struchka now is going to lose that place. And it's Hunor Horshi in control, side by side. Sipua down the inside of Vrajilov, gives him door around the outside of one of the GT4 BMWs there. And the clearance so critical to get that done. Sipua now up to P6, and that was around Dimitar Palauzov to try and get by. So Vrajilov now will be sitting back going, not what I wanted here in this one. Watch out for the damage then on the number 41. Because right now, this is what Yulian Janowski does not want to be doing. Having to fight again and again and again. This to get back to 15th by Hristo Sarkazov. And the clearance is sorted through the corner. So good pass, easy pass in the end at turn 1. You expect a move done there. And speaking of expecting moves done, we'll go a little bit further back, because this is going to be the pass down at turn 1 from Jordan Svetanov. Oh, car slow. That's Roy. I think it's Roy. It's Roy. And so Roy Viveka, a half slide through turn 1. All that is needed there to upset him, lose balance, and lucky he did not catch another car in that of Arnie Weiss. So he almost caught one of his, not direct teammates, but teammates out there. Raichunov, the gap is closing to Gabriel Ivanov here. Was up at the likes of 4.5 seconds, now down to 3.5 seconds. Ivilo Boychev being dropped off the back off of Ivanov and Neshev here. And there is Boromechkov, who is hoping for big points here today to close up in overall and in GT3 Pro-Am Yekov Rally School. So that could be a huge one there. So that is Mavrodiev in 21st, who is trying to now negotiate a Jordan Svetanov in 20th. With Roy Viveka dropping the place. By all means, son, go ahead. Make it work. Find the position that is out there. Arnie Weiss will also be knowing that he's got to try and jump through. He's got to try and find these places as well. And every pass is going to be critical as they start opening up the gaps here and heading towards 40 minutes run and half an hour left in the third round of your SimGear GT Masters here from Sebring. So, Vladimir Mavrodiev wants to try and get this place back, and he's struggling for it. And now it's the turn of Johan Neshev to start putting the pressure on. They're having to work through the likes of Daniel Kramsky, who made that early stop. Horshi, Struchka, and Yankov together on circuit are your top 3. And Yankov, the reigning champion, against the new Hungarian threat of those 2 VGTR cars. They'll go by Chikure here and get the clearance sorted. Chikure has just dropped off in P5 was up there as high as third, but critically having struggles to maintain that pace that he showed early on, which will indicate to me that there is a tyre issue out there. He's not able to extract as much as he wants to in the middle to late of the stint. So that could be something to note. Neshev remaining close at this moment in time, and so you can go and get what you need from it. Stebler then is saying, what can I do? Fastest lap with Johan Neshev on a 58.1 in this race. It's all right having the fastest on one lap. You've got to be the fastest over an hour and 10 and get through and do what is needed. Johan Neshev happy to follow Gabriel Ivanov. I think this is going to come down to the final stint of this race. Ivaylo Boychev unable to hold that pace in that Ferrari, and so back in fourth, and we'll be looking to see that it is a 12-second gap. It's Velin Vitanov out there at the moment, who is in P5. So that is a huge difference out there in terms of the placements. It's 1 second the gap in Pro-Am at this moment in time, and Ivaylo Dimitrov is having a career day in the number 83 right now in the GT3 Am category. 5 clear Hristo Sarkazov, and it's all the way back to 23rd. You go for third, and Anamir Georgiev. So that's telling you a lot, as there is Neshev frantic on the button against Hunor Horshi there, saying, gotta give me room. I am staying with Gabriel Ivanov come hell or high water. So Johan's on the charge, and it does slightly hurt Hunor Horshi here, knowing he's got his teammate Daniel Struchka in play. They are both trying to drop Martin Yankov. That's the important driver that they want to shake off the back, because they know he was in first. Karpachev in. This will be Paniot Karpachev's last stop of the race after an early pit stop to try and get himself off cycle and sequence. So if he's off cycle, he knows it's a long final stop here in this race, and he'll drop back even further than where he is in P31. 2.2 the overall gap at the front. Horshi and Struchka split by next to nothing out there, as there is the sleek Hunor Horshi car, the more, I would say, aggressive style GT4 Mustang out there of Struchka is looking to try and make something of this. But this is where you are trying to unlock the race. The key to this race is consistency, and in the final half an hour, who is the most consistent? Shipua now looking to get back that P6, because Fragilov is through. Yulian Janovsky now is going to find himself in a world of trouble now, heading himself over to Sunset Bend, because it's going to get very, very chipper around him, with Sarkazov and Mikov trying to work themselves then in through. They've got also trying to get through Milan Milchev, who has been overtaken by the likes of Janovsky. Sarkazov then a little bit too far back, but now they've got Ivo Serafimov on the rear, who's 3 laps down, trying to unglue, then back through. Neshev, 0.2 of a second here in the battle on for second place at the moment, and again through Collier into Tower on this former World War II airfield base. They're trying to go through. It's one of the flattest areas of the country here in the United States, more rather, as they go by. And so you'd also say with this that Johan Neshev is trying to prove a point, that I am just as quick as Gabriel Ivanov. I'm only 5 points back in terms of the Pro Championship. I want to work my way through. Sipua now having to reconstitute his way by here. Chris Vrajilov and a Jordan Svetinov wanting to get by Arnie Weiss. This for 19th position as 2 Pro-Ams continue to go at it. Valentin Stemenkov with Alexander Nikolov just in front. We'll be looking for more points in the GT3 Am category at this moment in time. So that will be another one to get through. And Sipua has got side by side with Vrajilov here, and they are absolutely pinning each other as close as they can. And now, who's going to give room at Sunset Bend? It's Sipua who has to yield, take the big wide line, hope for drive off the exit of the corner. And there it is. So gets a good run and is not going to get anything at the inside. Now Vrajilov tries to pinch and pinch and pinch. And at what point does Łukasz Szypła yield. Razulov being very resolute. They've got GT4 traffic then off the exit. Big flash of lights to get around Daniel Kramski. And so, as you were, boys. As you were. You look behind them as well. And I think Rosti Koshev wants in on it too and would love to jump up by them and say, this is where I am and this is what I can do. It's 1.3, your lead at the moment in GT3 at the moment and overall. So Raichinov is going to be the one under pressure. There is Szypła still trying to get clear of some of the Muffy racing cars then, and there is that clearance sorted. Will there be a lunge down into Cunningham Corner? Answers no. So Szypła here will look at Chris Razulov and can only do just that. Look, Neshev, what a run from Johan Neshev here. He's going to get an absolute peach of a chance at Sunset to get by Gabriel Ivanov and then start to stretch his legs. So Gabriel, what do you have to defend this one at Sunset? He goes chucking it a mile down the inside, gets it slowed up in the middle of the apex, and he can do that because the Aston Martin is just so light, and so you can brake that much later out there. And Johan knows he can only use the grunt of his Mustang to get himself alongside, but in the corners, Gabriel Ivanov has got the upper hand, and that's going to be critical here. Another defensive line over towards turn 3. Long way it will have to be for Johan Neshev. They are now dropping time to Raichinov because they're taking defensive lines, and that's the only saving grace that Venti has in this race. Razulov pits from 7th, and that will set everybody into motion at 45 minutes in this race. Another defense. Spun car at the apex. Oh, get in line, get in line. Oh, they're just going to manage it there. That was Maxim Ivanov, who has spun around trying to find a way to get back onto circuit. Oh, that could have been scary and sketchy as anything, but Gabriel Ivanov sees it down the inside. Here comes Johan Neshev. This is a huge moment in this race, and it's not going to happen. Enough from Gabriel Ivanov to defend it, and he's now pretty much trying to make his Aston Martin the widest road-going vehicle in the state of Florida right now. Nothing will get by Gabriel Ivanov at this point, and they know how big this battle is going to be and how hard they're going to have to work. There's still 25 minutes left in this race. They're really going to have to make it work. They're really going to have to do something here. Janowski, Skelton, and Mikov all in the pits, by the way. So they're making their stops and looking to get clearance. And I think Nikolai Mikov is going to get the best of all of them. But my, oh my, Johan Neshev wants a win. He needs a win after winning the opening round, having so much trouble at Watkins Glen, a non-finish there. He knows what this championship means. He needs these places. He needs it, and just in front of them, that's Venti. Raichinov is going to go into pit, and now that's going to set up the final stages of this race. Vilo Boychev will go by, and I expect then Raichinov to drop back a little bit then in this stop, because he's going to have to make a longer stop because he had such a short first stop out there in this one. He's just going to have to pay it back. He gave himself great progress at the front in the middle of this run, leaving pits in front of him. Ivo Serafimov back out there, but 0.4 of a second the gap for race lead at this moment in time. And keep an eye out on Horchy and Struchka, because it's 0.7 between them, and only a 1.5 seconds back is Martin Yankov, as Raichinov will lead the pits outside of the top 6. It's nose to tail as they leave the hotel hairpin and run through at Fangio. Over towards Cunningham once again. This is where we have seen Johan Neshev be good. Defensive line now taken. In front of them is Robin Skelton. So will Skelton have to get their elbow out again then as they work through, and no room through Collier. Look at the respect between these two drivers, leaving each other enough room at every stage. And again, painted into a corner is Johan Neshev. He needs the drive. He knows he's got a car that's better on the loud pedal than Gabriel Ivanov, but he's so nimble. Gabriel, be nimble. Gabriel, be quick. Gabriel, do everything you can to defend against Johan Neshev. And again, through Jean de Bien, he just edges the car out through the corner to say, no, you're not getting me like that. You're going to have to be very bold and brave, Sunshine, to make it happen. And again, here comes the runner. I don't think... Oh, he's late over to the inside. There was such a chase for it to go for Johan Neshev. He needed this, and he'll go around the outside trying to make this one work, and he will again struggle to get the line, and again is going to have to wait for turn one to go and get this move. It's another good drive off of the exit, but this is frustrating for Johan Neshev because Gabriel is showing absolute class in the way he's defending in a car that's not as quick in a straight line, and sometimes straight line is not always the answer to life's problems, as we see right now. Moving on through, they will stay out another lap then as they focus, and they are in an absolutely beautiful scrap at the moment. Now, how does Robin Skelton play in the context of this? Half a second between Horsey and Struchka right now. It'll be a battle of two teammates for the GT4 crown honours out there today, but it's going to be no moves down on the brakes here as they go through. There is Struchka. We'll go back to GT4 because they deserve as much love as the GT3s, and Struchka then clear with Hunor Horsey, with Martin Yankov very happy with the way this race is going. Stebler and Chikure are now together in fourth and fifth as well in category, and they are looking to try and prove that they've got something out there to go with. So this is another little scrap that's there, but look at the pick. The pick's there, and Skelton's not been very helpful. Remember, he's on fresh tyres at the moment with Dimitar Palazov in front, Valentin Stemenkov, Norbert Heyi. They're going to have to make the room. There's no requirement to let this go through, and look at that. It's just single thread. Almost going to have to push your way through the Flying Fortress corner. Again, Gabriel Ivanov is wise enough to cover off any potential threat down over towards the inside, as now they sit with 20 minutes to go, and now they're going to have to thread the needle. And look at Skelton, just desperate for a tiny bit of toe is Gabriel Ivanov. That'll be enough. They're past Norbert Heyi, back in line underneath Robin Skelton's Porsche is going to be the pass here, and so there you go. Easy does it. There's one, there's two, thank you muchly, on me way. And so they now look at this and think, well, they're probably going to come in at the same time again. And so Vilo Boychev off the back now is going to make the throw down into pits. This might be a case of who's been supping the fuel a little bit better than someone else. 20 minutes to go. Fragilov trying to work his way through after his pit stop. It's going to be tough. In towards Jean de Bien, and now trying to go either side of the traffic here. That's not going to be helpful. And now looking to the inside. Look out where Avilo Boychev's coming out of the pits, by the way. As this is going on, it's almost side by side for the lead. So where is Venti Raichanov? Raichanov is behind, but side by side is Johan Neshev. He'll be on the outside into Cunningham Corner now, trying to get this done with 19 minutes. They've still got to pay a pit stop, but at the moment, Neshev trying to get the line, and is he now going to get the drive through Collier Corner? Finally, he gets the pass done, and he'll move himself up into the race lead. And now Gabriel Ivanov is gonna need to fight back immediately to get anything through. With Stemenkov and Janovsky and Velkov in front, it is not plain sailing, as in the pits comes Martin Yankov and Daniel Kramsky, then making the calls in GT4 that they need. There's Svetinov, no, sorry, that's Kiermaier, then down the inside of Boromechkov. The other battle is with the two teammates of these drivers, Weiss and Svetinov. So through goes Kiermaier. He gets the pass done. Naidalov as well down in the pits with Borisov. So stand. Oh, there's big trouble in front of the leaders. And it's going to be Maxim Ivanov again who took a massive tap with Janovsky. 1 in, 1 out. Ivanov stays out. Neshev is in. This is the race. Johan Neshev has to pit, makes the call. And I look at Gabriel Ivanov in this situation, and I think it's smart. So this is an issue here with car number 43 going slow, Nikolai Mikov. And it doesn't look like there's anything there unless he's caught the barriers down there. And it does jut out heading over towards turn number 1, and it's easily done. And it might be actually into turn one where the trouble is going to be found here. So in through turn one, let's have a look. Car looks pretty planted through the middle. Is it going to be a case of just being too close or the back stepping out? Yeah, doesn't look like there's anything there for Nikolai Mikov. So let's go back live as Johan Neshev back out and away in fifth and critically ahead of Leon Kiermaier. And how critical was that to get a gap? Vice all over the flashers as Bodomechkov and Nivilo Dimitrov, your GT3 AM leader, both hit pit lane. So that's going to tell you a lot as they go in. And Nivilo Boychev here is dealing with Venslav Raichunov, who has gone through. So Raichunov has got the pass done into turn one on Nivilo Boychev. And so now chase on as they try and work through. There's Gabriel Ivanov leading this race. By no means is it the half a minute he won by Watkins Glen. He has had to scrap and claw and fight, and I reckon here he will be very grateful for that extra lap if he can save that tiny bit of fuel. I think that's going to be a difference maker here with this Aston Martin. Absolutely sending down the inside of Alexander Nikolov. He's going to have to pray that Radlan Ivanov's not coming into the pits. He is! Oh my goodness me! He tags him in the rear, trying to get by him. Oh, that's the race! That's the race for Gabriel Ivanov. He has been stuck behind Radlen, trying to get into the pits. Traffic plays its hand. Radlen's got a speeding penalty because of the tap that has come through from Gabriel Ivanov, and I think that would be worthy of a time penalty at the end for that from Gabriel's impatience. His race is cooked right at the time he didn't need it. Now watch the stop time, because this is going to be where the race needs to be won. Neshev, 16.8 seconds only in the stop, and Neshev now is making his way out of the final corner. Let's see where he's going to come out by comparison. There goes Gabriel Ivanov now on to the noisy pedal, and does he still have the clearance needed? Answer to that is yes, but he's got to get up to speed, and here comes Johan Neshev. How has that not ended up in a position right now where he's lost that race lead? Staggering. Absolutely staggering. Velin Vitanov then will be the last driver who needs to pit of the leaders before this cycle. Sipua, Koshev, Maxim Dimitrov, all there. Joris Ohms we know needs to pit. But suddenly they are all together again. Kiermaier also another one who needs to jump in and make a stop and is going to happily sit on the back of these two. They're going to have to scrap again for the final 15 minutes. And Nikos here has the black and orange mechanical flag. His day's going to be written as the likes of Horsey and Struchka. You got Struchka down in the pits currently, so GT4 is going to be key, but Neshev isn't sitting back and waiting again. Again, it's defended at the tower, and so more is needing to be done out there at the moment. I'm looking around at Daniel Struchka. He's leaving pit lane right now. They fight on the Flying Fortress straight. I need 5 camera angles here to talk about everything that's going on, because this has been a stellar race right now of every kind. Ivanov holding himself steady. Horsey clear of Struchka, and clear decisively of Struchka as well. He's over a second clear down the road. Daniel's got work to do. In comes Velin Vitanov now to make his stop. Side by side on the backstretch. Look at them trading paint as they now work into Sunset Bend. Now here comes the chance, but again, the inside is best and plays king for Gabriel Ivanov. But here comes the up and under off of the exit. Now they've got to work for the traffic. Right way's going to make it happen, and only enough room's going to be given. 3 wide as they work through. Just get the clearance there in towards turn number 1 and lift off the brakes and hold through the corner. But it's so aggressive in from Gabriel Ivanov. He's immediately over to cover in towards turn 2 and now turn 3. Outside line by Johan Neshev. This for the race lead. And now over the curb it's going to be. And it's a slowdown for Johan Neshev. Ivanov with the elbows out as championship leader. Oh, I don't think he's going to serve that one straight away. I think he's going to send a message here to Gabriel Ivanov. I'm going to get by, then I'm going to slow you up. Here we go on the brakes. They've got traffic in front that they got to deal with too, and that's not going to yield at all. Is it, Jack Tolchard, as they now work on the exit? And again, Neshev trying to hunt this down. At some point, he's got to give that time, and he knows that it will only balloon up if he finds himself there. Now he finally does it because he knows there's traffic there on the inside. Gabriel thought he had the clearance. Half a second it is. And we look further back there to Sipua. He's come out in 10th behind Chris Vrajolov and also behind Koshev and the likes of Kiermaier. I think Yorisom's still to pit. So, whoa, hold on to your hats. This is going to be a very nervy last 12 and a half minutes in this race, and it is Koshev who is having to defend here for everything he's worth. Tolchar trying to go down the inside, a driver who has won already this season in the Ferrari, and he's got the clearance that he wants at this moment in time, and does so now, moving on and away. Sipua then thinking about it, and a change for third as Ivaylo Boychev is through on Raichanov, who has run wide, I think, as there goes Vrajolov sending a soiree down the inside at the tower. And look at this, the blinking on the lights, because now look at what it's brought. Oh, a Flying Fortress. Oh, Bishop. Sipua down the inside. Wonka Sipua trying to get it done all the way out there by Chris Vrajolov. That's a mean way of doing it. Sipua's got to slow down now, and Sipua every right to be aggrieved as he now knows he flashes the lights. I've got to serve a second there, and I would say protestable as well out there. You've got to leave enough room for your competitor to fight fairly with, and that wasn't that. So that's more to deal with. And Struchka as well, by the way, is closing down a gap down to 7/6 of a second with Hunor Horshi, as here comes Ivaylo Dimitrov now, the GT3 AM lead. Weiss will come in, so that will move him back up to 13th. He wants one back on Maxim Dimitrov here to be best Dimitrov in field out there overall in 12th. So there's that to try and deal with. Another think about whether I can go and get this move. And again, the answer to that is no. So, oh, buddy, this is going to set up for an absolute showdown of 10 minutes of racing left. Keep your eyes everywhere in this final 10 minutes, especially up to your race leaders. We focus with Roy Vervaeke for a moment. There's a car with nothing on it on the front there. So for Roy of the Rovers, he will see that the car in front with that much damage is Raichanov! Sorry, it's Raichanov! Raichanov, no front! How has that happened? Who's he got into the back of to have that level of damage? I'm trying to look and see. He had the clearance, I think. This is just a case of him just losing the front. Oh, he's done it on the curb. He's done it on the curb, coming out of Le Mans. He has battered the curb, and it has knocked the front clip off. Side by side for the lead, as now we go back to Vrajolov. We've got to go back to the lead here. Gabriel Ivanov now has lost the race lead to Johan Neshev. So Neshev has got it clear through the opening corner, and he needed to do that to get it sorted. Now you start thinking about where Sipua is. So much going on, and Raichanov's luck again running short, as he will have to limp for a top 5 out there. Neshev ahead, but look at the traffic that Johan's going to have to deal with now. Naidanov, Karpachev, you got Chikure that they've got to get through. I think Chikure is going to be the toughest one of the lot, actually, because he'll be slower, and everyone's going to be stuck behind Joris Erms in the pits then too, and Jordan Svetanov side by side with Milan Milchev. There's the pass that gets that sorted. They all find a way through, and a car going to run off wide there, so Naidanov's going to stay out of the way here of that group. Milchev still needing a run here, working on through onto the Ullman Straight to what is normally Sunset Bend, but it's too cloudy today for anything to happen, and Sipua can't get by Vrajolov again. They're nose to tail for the race lead again as they try and get by Chikure, and still you've got Struchka who's dealing with Horshi. Off goes Vrajolov, and so there's another chance then for this move to be done. I need more screens to keep up with all of this right now. Vrajolov, oh, side by side, they're going to lose the place. Battling on it, no! Oh my goodness, they almost turn over each other into the hotel hairpin. That could have been that between those two, and that pretty much saves bacon in that front with 7.5 minutes to go. Struchka still trying to work to Hunor Horshi. They're going to push each other along the straight. Jakure now with a slowdown penalty. Outside line. Oh, the turn across the nose. Bang! Into the side. There, I think Haye is the one who's taken the hit. So that's a big hit. It might have been Alex Stefanov, but that is massive. Now your leaders. Is there a chance? Gabriel is chucking it in at the mid part of the corner. It's got to be covered off. Oh, Kosovo on the exit. Here's a chance. Gabriel Ivanov now. He's going to get the run. Trying to stay out of the way with Dimitar Palau's off the lap traffic. Now Paniot Karpachev's going to be the big key in this one. And now just this clearance. Oh, my. Neshev back down to the inside. This is stellar between these two. Absolute blockbuster battling between these two. Now to turn 3. Here comes a chance, and Gabriel Ivanov once again holds himself steady with Neshev trying to send back at 5. Isn't going to find the chance there. Boremechkov as well eyeing up Sipua for places, and we still note Horshi and we still note Struchka, who are side by side in front of these drivers for the lead of GT4, and Horshi is just going to cover the move. There they all go in the same shot. Your two battles for overall in both classes here today. Horshi and Struchka going at it here, and they'll be side by side, forcing almost 3 wide. Now you got to think, where do you want to be? Gabriel Ivanov is clear, and he's going to dive down the pair of them, and Neshev can't. And that might be all that is necessary out there between those two. But I know one thing out of Johan Neshev. He's a driver who's not got quit in his dictionary out there. He knows he's going to go and give everything he can. The higher profile there of Daniel Struchka trying to get one over on his teammate Hunor Horshi, trying to say, I'm just as much as a title threat as you are. I'm not going to let you have back-to-back wins in your class. And so now they work their way, your leading duo, working through at Le Mans and on to the Sunset Bend. They will be looking to next. Half a second in the ascendancy right now. Over to the right. Good decision, Paniot. Have absolutely nothing to do with these two drivers. They are chucking it at each other at this stage of the run. And my, oh my, are we in for an absolutely brilliant finish to this one in all categories out there. This is set up to be one of the all-time great races out there in the SIMGEAR GT Masters. Vice now wanting a top 15. We'll need to get it done here on the likes of Milan Milchev. Black flag for Jack Tolchard is going to put him in a world of hurt. He'll drop way down the order and won't get the points that he wants. So he's now going to be pretty much out of contention for anything meaningful today, with Avilo up in 12th and him all the way down in 29th. Tough day at the office for Jack, and he knows it. There's Lazar Katsarski. He wants one on Anamir Georgiev for position. It would be for 22nd out there, and it would be a absolutely massive move if it could be found and it could be done. So that's another one that you got to keep your mind on here, with 4 minutes and under left in this race. A truly staggering finish to this one we're expecting. Gabriel Ivanov is now being reeled into half a second. Arnie Weiss to the outside, wanting the move done on Milan Milchev. Milchev over the grass. Wiggle. Thank you. Arnie Weiss gets the pass, and he'll feel upset there, will Milan Milchev, but he's only got himself to blame. Maxime Fanite, this for second overall in GT3 Pro-Am, as there goes the chance down the inside. It's not there, but they've got Sipua who will want through on both of them, and your GT3 Am lead, Ivilo Dimitrov, could get top 10 here today if they continue to scrap like this. Outside line searching at Cunningham's not going to work there for Maxime against Boromechkov. This is coming down to whose nerve is going to hold the most in a forecast scrap for the top 10 out there. Thinking about it again, Tower. Tower's been a wonderful place to go and get moves, but it hasn't quite been the be-all and end-all of it out there at this point. It is being all about who has held on with what nerve that they've had. Maxime Dimitrov is not giving this one up, but he knows that the moment that he lifts off, he's going to see the likes there of of course, Łukasz Sipua, who has dropped the places on this lap, try and get back. The Paddock.GG Mustang is roaring into life, and now is going to want to try and go through. They all funnel to that inside, trying to make it happen. Still 6/10 for the lead, and side by side it almost is between Horsey and Struchka and GT4, and Bodomechkov with the defense again, but he's gone a little bit deep into the corner. Thank you, says Maxime Dimitrov. Great move to get that past. Bodomechkov straight back into tow, trying to find a way through and trying to make it happen. We've got to go to GT4. They're side by side heading into the the hotel hairpin, and Struchka on the outside trying to make this work. Again, he's going to be stuck. They'll only have one more opportunity after this on the pace of what is being set by Gabriel Ivanov and Johan Neshev. Right now, here comes the chance. Struchka to the outside of his teammate now, working his way over towards Cunningham Corner, and again, it's not quite, is the answer that he gets. He's tried everywhere to go and make it happen. It's not quite been there, and still the battle rages on. There goes the likes of Ivilo. Dimitrov to the outside as contact, and he's going to be forced out to the back. Over to your main leaders here, because we're going to get one lap to go here at Sebring, and that gap is 3.5 tenths of a second here. Gabriel Ivanov is watching behind, and he knows that Johan Neshev doesn't have much. That's one of the battles in front of them right now that is taking shape. Katsarski, Georgiev, and Hayi, who are all there, who are all trying to sort it, but the white flag waves, and Ivanov's got 2 bits of traffic in front of him. Radled Ivanov, who stays out of the way after what happened down on pit lane, and Lyubomir Velkov will be the other car that they'll have to get by. Ivanov is working as well. Big lunge! Down the inside, there's contact! Oh my goodness me! That was huge, an attempt from Johan Neshev, and he still can't get it done on Gabriel Ivanov. He's tried every way to try and get this move done, and it still won't work out there at this stage. Gabriel Ivanov there saw a ghost diving down the inside, and he said, I'm not losing my race today. Not like that at turn 3 on a missed braking point. Into the hotel hairpin, there'll be no chance of making that dive. But oh my goodness, was that the moment the race was made. Now you start thinking, there's still chances left. There's side by side as Sipua looks to get the run on Bodomechkov for position, and they're going to be all over the straight trying to get it done. There'll be no looks at Cunningham Corner while that's going on, and still you got Struchka and Horsey going on, and around the outside of turn 1, it will be Sipua getting that move sorted, but it is now to Tower. They'll have to go. Is it covered at turn 3? Yes, it is. Yeah, just about. Bodomechkov covers off then on Ivilo Dimitrov, but the leaders are now working on the Flying Fortress straight. Car goes off on the right-hand side of Lyubomir Velkov, and Johan Neshev will only have Sunset Bend as the place to get it done. Look at this from Bodomechkov. He's going to get out of it, and Ivilo now is going to jump on through and try and push through the corner. They're going to be 3 wide on the brakes then as they go through. Got to go back to the leaders though. As great as this battle is, because now Gabriel Ivanov knows he's got clearance, and Neshev is going to have to send this from a mile back. He's not even taking a dive to the inside. He would have hoped that Ivanov would have run out of fuel or something to that ilk. Into Sunset Bend. Is there any one mistake lane? No, because Gabriel has survived the gauntlet. Johan Neshev threw the sink at him. He had nothing. Ivanov takes it at Sebring. Out of fuel over the line was Johan Neshev, and Ivilo Boychev is going to be 3rd. But I look at Horsey and Struchka, who will be now heading to the line. Look at this. Struchka now has pushed the entire way. Now is he going to break his heart at sunset? Here comes the chance, and Horsey has got inside line. There's Koshev trying to take 6th away. Boychev 3rd. He is going to be your Pro-Am winner, but Struchka taking a huge wide line behind. It's going to try and get that run on Hunor Horsey, who will take the honours. It will be a drag race towards the line, but you're just out of time, Daniel. Hunor Horsey back to back. Rusty Koshev taking the AM honours, and Ivilo Dimitrov is going to be your winner out there, because it's all ended in carnage for Sipua and Bodomechkov, who look like they've come together on the final lap. But still great battling they'll go as we watch Lazar Katsarski going at it here towards the finish, and there is a car slow in front of them that they're going to have to try and get by to. So that's Roban Skelton, who I think is trying to limp home, and they will make a way by Oh, we have had an absolutely majestic race here from Sebring, but now as they run out through Le Mans, just enough room there between them. Lazar Katsarski and Anamir Georgiev will be watching here with bated breath on where the move is going to come. Robin Skelton, I think, is going to have this covered heading into sunset. We'll see here through the right. Early on the break. Oh, they're all going to go flying in here. That's a bit deep. And that might be the place here for Anamir Georgiev to lose on the final corner. Lazar Katsarski, thank you. I'll take a freebie. Barney happy with that as they cross the finish line. Right. Cup of tea, anyone? Breather. Last car over the line will be Norbert Hey. Just about getting the clearance. We can confirm it was the likes of him there with the damaged front who ended up in the wrong place at the wrong time. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. So, Gabriel Ivanov will have a lot of elbow out. He had to do everything in that race. I mean everything in that race to hold that race win. And a classic, a vintage defense against Johan Neshev, who will take second. And Ivaylo Boychev then will get his first big result of the season with a third-place run for Negative Delta by SimGear.bg. Velin Vitanov will finish fourth ahead of Venceslav Raichunov, who lost the front of his car coming through the likes of Le Mans, and then it was Leon Kiermaier sixth, and your winner in Pro-Am being Rosti Koshev in seventh for the Aryekov Rally School car. Chris Radulov will finish eighth ahead of Maxim Dimitrov and Ivaylo Dimitrov, in 10th position, who was your winner in the GT3 AM category. What a day for Ivaylo, with Joris Erms in 11th and Ivan Boromechkov then falling to 12th in the final stages of the race after contact with Łukasz Sipua then on that final lap. Arnie Weiss would be 14th ahead of Yordanin Svetanov, with Milan Milchev, Hristo Sarkazov and Vladimir Mavrodiev then in 18th position. We will move over to see the end of the top 20 being Nikolai Mikov, and then on top of that, Yulian Janovsky. Robin Skelton and Lazar Katsarski then would be 21st and 22nd. Last car in the lead lap would be Anamir Georgiev in 23rd, with Stanimir Borisov, Alexander Nikolov Sr., Roy Viveka, and on top of that, Stanislav Naidanov in 27th. Valentin Stamenkov would be 28th. And the last car lap down would be Jack Tolchard ahead of Paniot Karpachev. Your winner in GT4 was Hunor Horshi. He just held his teammate Daniel Struchka to the line in what was a very close battle to the end, just never had the angle. Martin Yankov, again, your leader, but taking consistent third-place points ahead of Cam Tochikure and Dylan Stebler, with Daniel Kramsky then for Eastside Motorsport in that fifth position. Looking back, Alex Stefanov there with Alexander Nikolov Jr. and Norbert Hey. Down the order, Lyubomir Velkov, 4 laps down. Tough day at the office, rather than Ivanov and the two Dimitars. Palauzov leading home Dimitrov, with Maxim Ivanov getting caught in the walls quite a fair bit. Nicholas Nikos then would be 5 laps down. On top of that, you would have Ivo Serafimov with Krasin Stanchev. Ture Molarin, the big shock in Pro-Am, in all sorts of trouble, with Orlin Malinov and Kenny Campos making the field out there today. As you may have just heard, all the drivers now starting to walk themselves in as we head over to your SimGear press conference then to end out proceedings. And what a day at the office it is for Gabriel Ivanov. Gabriel, I want to take you back to your second pit stop then, and the troubles you had going in. You had some GT4 traffic in front of you as you tried to get that sorted. Did you think at that moment that the race was going to still be on by the time you came out of the pits?
I just said it is what it is, to be honest. If this thing was not in my control, so I just try to keep my cool and try to, be fastest. So yeah, I didn't worry too much about it. If I worry too much about it, I might make a mistake, So yeah.
It's a lot different of a race for you compared to a couple of weeks ago at Watkins Glen. There you had an easy walk away, but here it was absolutely elbows out stuff. So in terms of how you were looking at this race and how hard you had to fight with Johan, does that go down as one of the best sim racing battles you've ever had?
Yeah, for sure. Johan is very talented, very fast little guy, very fast. He he was on my ass the whole time, literally the whole time. He had mistakes with the GT4s. I mean, situations where the GT4s did stupid things and he lost time compared to me, but he still got back to my ass and just sweated me. So yeah, very congratulating to. I want to congratulate him. Very good race, really.
I'm looking at the general standings, and Mollerine didn't have a good race. Sipua didn't have a good race. Velin Vitanov was probably the only driver behind who was in direct, I would say, really close battling. He's gone close. Neshev's going to jump a mile in terms of this too. So in terms of driver general, you're there. A GT3 Pro, a lot closer. You've now got Christmas to think about how you go and manage the mountain of Mount Panorama. How are you looking at making your Christmas break that much sweeter as the overall leader of the SimGear GT Masters?
I won't even practice for Bathurst because I know it's gonna be if I'm dead or if I survive. It's not if I'm the fastest GT4s and Bathurst and oh no, I don't want to imagine it to be honest. But I'll be enjoying my my winter break.
Well, enjoy it with the fact that you are a back-to-back winner. Gabriel Ivanov then gets the job done at Sebring. We'll go to the other side of the coin here and talk with Johan Nesher because, Johan, it looked like you had the legs on the straight. It was just the fact that he could just jump it into the corners a little bit better and carry the speed.
Yeah, he was defending very nice. Good job to him, well done. And yeah, I felt like I was faster, but just there is no place to overtake here. And yeah,
No place to overtake. Tough for you, especially in that Mustang. But talk us through that final lap because I don't know whether it was a case of you just overcooked it on the brakes, but you came from a mile back at turn 3 to try and get it done. And then over the line, it looked like you were very critical on fuel too.
no, I just saw a gap and decided it's last lap. I have nothing to lose and went for it. That was my mistake. I apologized. And no, I didn't have problems with the fuel. I just let him go because that was my fault and didn't want to win unfairly.
Well, that's very sportsmanlike of you, Johan. And of course, especially when you've had a bad week 2 weeks ago, you're now looking to build up some form. How does Mount Panorama do for you? Is it a circuit you like or dislike?
I haven't driven it on iRacing yet. I still have to buy it. I heard it's gonna rain there, and yeah, it's gonna be chaos. If I survive, that's like a win.
Well, we hope that the Sundance is going to be out there for you, especially if you haven't bought it here on iRacing. Johan Neshev, second overall then here today. The driver who would end up third overall in category would be Avilo Boychev then for the GT3 Pros. And Avilo, a much different race for you because you've struggled through the first 2 races of the season and suddenly it seemed like things were starting to click for you, especially in the late battle there with Venslav Raichanov losing his front out there. That gave you the ticket to walk away.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, last 2 races have been absolutely horrible. So I had to come back for this one. And during the practice, I think throughout the week, I saw that I didn't have the pace of these guys up ahead. So I had to think of something else. So my thing was pretty much fuel saving. I was fuel saving the entire race, and I think it paid off because at the end, the gap was just 3 seconds, and I think I'll take that.
You absolutely will, especially on a day like this where it's miserable because you're in December. The track's always going to be very cold. It's always going to be very slippy out there. And even at a circuit which is so well run and well known, traffic proved to be a very huge factor around the lap. How did you find that?
Yeah, I think I was decent with traffic. I got impeded on a couple of laps, but I don't think it was too bad. I think the last 2 races were worse. I'm not optimistic about traffic at Bathurst. We'll see how that goes, but I think it was pretty okay this time around. I think my teammate Venci, the scenario there is a bit sad because he got taken out by a back marker. But stuff like this happens. It's racing.
It very much is. But of course, for you, a chance to run back. Are you looking at this second half of the season now of the final 4 races? Are you looking at just getting what you can and maybe even going stage hunting?
Yeah, I mean, I'm optimistic about the second half of the season. there's pretty much I like the tracks that are coming up. I don't know if I'll have the pace, to win or challenge in general, but we'll see.
Well, we'll wish you the best of luck when Mount Panorama comes around. Avilo Boychev there picking up a 3rd place overall and in category. It was to P7 where you needed to go for the action in Pro-Am, where Rosti Koshev would go and pick up the result. And I wouldn't have said it was very covert today, the running for you, Rosti. It was a day in which you needed a statement, and the statement came early with the retirement then of Ture Mollerin. The door left wide open for you and you capitalized.
Yeah, it was one of my best races, especially in the early stages. I had a lot of overtakes. I got great battles with the pro guys. It was amazing today.
In and around the likes of Paddock and Mark Speed, who are all there. You were up there with Leon trying to fight for it to the end. You had Sipua with you for the longest time, including likes of Chris Vrajlov as well that you were working with. Do you think that really fills you with a lot of confidence that, after the opening couple of rounds, you're now starting to knock it about with those sorts of drivers and you're really making strides when it comes to the Pro-Am Championship?
Well, I hope so. I know the pace isn't there already. I'm trying my best. I'm pushing hard, training a lot, as much as I can, and we'll see how it goes onward.
Well, you got Mount Panorama in the new year, but I want to talk to you about moving from GT4 last season to GT3 this season. What's been the biggest, difference that you've seen jumping up the class with more horsepower?
Well, I find it easier to be over the overtaker than to be in overtake, so it's in my control. So traffic seems better. The car I've driven before, so it's not that big of a deal. But yeah, that's it.
Well, let's hope it works for you in January. Rosti Koshev then getting the win in GT3 Pro-Am. 2nd in that category, ended up in P9. That would be Maxim Dimitrov, who is here with us now. And Maxim, for off-track racing, it's been a case of a good solid start to the season, but this was the chance for you to really kick on. It's now back-to-back podiums in the category for you, and you're starting to find your legs.
Yeah, Suzuka wasn't my best track. I didn't have any pace there, but Watkins Glen and Sebring proved to be quite fast there.
Yeah, the pace certainly there, and you're right up there. It was getting very busy at the end of the race there between Avilo. I think stuff happened there on the final lap between Boromechkov and Sipua. We didn't quite catch it on our end of the screen, so can you walk us through what happened on the final lap?
Yeah, we think we were fighting for a couple of laps, and I did overtook him on track before probably Ivilo or Ivan had an accident behind me, but it was quite hard overtake for me.
Tough overtakes then, I don't think are going to be too far away from you in the new year with Mount Panorama on the horizon. Patience, I think, is going to be the biggest factor out there because you've only got 2 great places over the course of the lap to get by lap traffic. So how do you think people will take patience, especially knowing that it is possibly the most difficult track on the schedule?
Yeah, hopefully everyone knows it's about survival and a bit of luck there.
Well, survival and luck certainly pays its weight. Maxim Dimitrov then making moves up in the Pro-Am Championship and jumping on through. I believe we don't have 3rd in the championship for Pro-Am. I believe that would have been Joris Ooms, who would have been there over the line. But just in front of Joris Ooms finishing was your GT3 Am winner, Avilo Dimitrov. Avilo, that's a huge result for you today. A top 10 as an Am, and looking back down the field, it looks like a fairly long way to the next drivers that are there. How critical was that for you, targeting this in your very nice bright green and yellow Porsche?
Thinking about it, it was very nice. I'm happy with the result, and it was very, very tough. At the very beginning, I was struggling a lot, and then I have some good pace, and with a bit of luck, I go forward.
So let's talk about the fact that sometimes it does click for a driver, and I think for you it certainly clicked somewhere in that race. what was it about the car and the track that through the practices, through the qualifying, that you didn't quite get, and then suddenly in the race, suddenly everything just sort of opened your eyes?
I was thinking I want to survive the first lap, and then when I survived, I was thinking it's now I have to push myself and do my best because I like the track. I really love it, and yeah, on the quali I was not that fast as I want because of some mistake, but like I am, it's normal.
So a massive chance. I don't think anyone's really taken full control of the GT3 AM standings, but for you, it's a chance to really jump back up, especially being down almost 100 points going into today. Do you think this resets your championship season heading to Mount Panorama in the new year?
Exactly, I think that reset me because I didn't have luck in the first and the second race. I crashed in the both race, and I think that will give me another chance.
Well, we've just seen the four wide there that you were on the inside of, where Turo Mollerin found himself in with an issue. So sometimes luck favors those who are brave. Ivilo Dimitrov, then the winner in the GT3 AM category. A chance now to go down to GT4, where Hunor Horshi is back to back on victories. But Hunor, I don't think you had a chance to breathe anywhere in that race. It opened up by about a second and a half, and then the traffic just brought it right back in again.
Yeah, definitely. I really don't know how to summarize that race. It really started out looking pretty bleak for me in terms of winning because I know that Danny was at least on my pace, if not faster. But then I accidentally, back when we were doing team orders, I accidentally dive-bombed him at the hairpin at lap 1. So after that I was leading, but yeah, after the pit stops, the traffic definitely brought the gap down. And yeah, absolutely no time to breathe. There were no team orders as well, as long as we don't crash.
Well, that you certainly didn't, and the pace and the patience certainly paid off in that regard. But just trying to navigate through the battles when you got some of the quickest drivers out there trying to chuck it around, it looked like everywhere in that race there was a pack of 2, 3, 4 that was always going to be going at it. So in terms of being a GT4 driver, does that give you more stress than, say, just having an individual car every few seconds trying to jump through?
Definitely, it definitely gives us one more variable to worry about. Uh, Obviously, there are no comms, so the viewers and you wouldn't be able to hear what we were saying to each other during the race. But fair to say that we were like screaming at each other that there's another GT3, and we were just wishing not to be killed by them because obviously they were fighting for position as well, and we are the slower class, so we always have we always have the disadvantage when it comes to this multi-class cyber racing, but yeah, definitely made the battle a lot more challenging, which does not come through the screen. Like you cannot feel it if you're just a viewer.
Back-to-back wins, back-to-back 1-2s. It looks like you're moving up in the championship, but critically, Martin Yankov finishing third. So do you think it's not plain sailing when you've got Mount Panorama after Christmas?
It definitely not. It definitely not. Especially that I heard that we might be expecting some rain at Mount Panorama. I might have heard it wrong, but if that is the case, then it really will be a case of survival. Not like it would not have been that if it wasn't for the rain. But the rain definitely gives a multiplier to that survival that we will have to somehow achieve. It's a very difficult track. Was really close, and it's a street circuit, lot of speed, up the mountain, down the mountain. It will be very difficult with all the traffic.
Well, we will hope that the traffic plays ball for you. Hunor Horshi with the win. And over to the other side of the garage, the Mustang side of the garage, where Daniel Struchka is. Daniel, you had every chance in that one. You did all the hard work. You led early on. Of course, you know, Hunor found it down the inside. But in that final stint, you pulled that 1.5 second gap back and just couldn't find the angle that got it done.
Yes, exactly. I'm not even gonna lie. I think this was my best race ever in iRacing, and I think Honor agrees as well. So yeah, no worry. No, I'm not even mad. I came second. So yeah, it was a great race.
talk us through that development process then for you as a driver, because it sounds like to me that you've maybe got more experience in other sims out there. You've jumped into iRacing, you're trying to learn the ropes, you're trying to develop, and the pace clearly looks like it's there for you. But what is it about piloting yourself around that is getting you these great results? Where's that confidence coming from?
I mean, I've started sim racing like 5 or 6 years ago, so it's been a while. But I came to iRacing because of the competitiveness of the simulator itself and the online factors. And I think I've improved a lot in terms of racing with real people and not with AI. And I think that is what made me faster, advancing through traffic, advancing through looking at the different telemetries of different drivers, of faster drivers like Hunor, for example. So yeah, it definitely helps looking at other people as a benchmark.
And that benchmark now, you're starting to see those championship points racking up. You're starting to make that progress. And you know, you're only a couple tenths away from taking a class victory here in the SimGear GT Masters. Does the mountain of Mount Panorama look to be a circuit that is going to be a better one for you, like here at Sebring, or one which you're starting to fear and you're just hoping to get a result from?
I think it will definitely be a case of surviving, as everybody else said that. But I'm confident in myself, but I don't think I will be a better driver in terms of space compared to Hunor and the others. But we'll see. I will definitely put in the time to practice.
And we will see how that goes for you over in the next stages. It is, of course, Daniel Struchka in this one, looking at that halfway stage race at Mount Panorama. The final driver to chat with, your reigning champion of GT4's Martin Yankov. Martin, they've got the legs on you again. There's no way of describing it, but for you, third place, I think, is a very good damage limitation for you.
Yeah, same old story again for me. I think this is the best result that I could manage. Actually, I didn't expect it because I didn't like the track. I wasn't as fast as I wished, but yeah, P3 is an okay result for me.
The Maffei guys behind you there, Chikure, Stebler and Kramsky, certainly showed that they had some pace early on, and especially in qualifying that looked really competitive. So is there a concern from your side that it's not just, you know, the two Hungarians there of Hunor and Daniel that you're worrying about, but if it's a case that the Maffei drivers can all string it together in terms of result?
Yeah, I'm just waiting for them because driving with them is a real pleasure, and I'm just waiting for more battles with them because Hunor and Daniel are like a different league. But yeah, I think we'll have fun in the next races.
And so that next race comes along after the new year at Mount Panorama. And, you know, every driver has said it's scary. It's multi-class around this place. It's one of the toughest things that you can possibly do. They don't even run the Bathurst 12-hour with that much multi-class that goes around. So for you, and looking to try and target that race, where everyone is having fear, do you sense opportunity?
Well, like everybody said, it's going to be a matter of survival. But when you are not the fastest driver, this can bring some opportunities. So who knows? Maybe this will be the track that will give me some hope for the championship.
We hope fortune favours those who are the bravest. Martin Yankov, your reigning champion, a third place here today, and I think just about's going to walk away as championship leader in category as we walk through. That will do it then for the SimGear GT Masters press conference and for racing action in general here in 2025 with us. You've got to wait till the new year for us, and it will be about a month's wait for the next rounds to jump on through. That will be taking place at Mount Panorama, but is a frantic end to the championship as the last 4 rounds are going to be taking place over from the likes of January 11th over to February 8th. So there's a lot to try and unpack in that regard. As far as today goes, though, this was a blockbuster. This was your Hollywood super movie in terms of racing. They threw the kitchen sink at everyone. Struchka just short on his teammate, but going from strength to strength as week to week goes by. A comfortable run in the end for the likes of Ivilo Dimitrov, but knowing that nobody has marked their stamp on GT3 AM as it stands. All change at the top of Pro-Am, as it was Rosti Koshev who decided that he was going to change things up compared to Ture Mollerin's retirement. But at the top, it was a case of two titans going at it to change the world. And ultimately, as Johan Neshev threw everything he could at it with all the dives and all of the confidence out there, sometimes elbows out, best way to do it. Gabriel Ivanov back to back as we now head to 2026 and to Mount Panorama Bathurst.